Okay, looks like we're good. Hey, everybody that's out there, we're getting ready to get started here with United Shades of Gray. We hope that you guys are ready for some good conversation. Tune in, tell a friend, tell your neighbor, let everybody know that we're here. We're getting ready to get started. All right. All right, and so I'm being told by there you go. I like that.
Hold the mic a
That's
little
the
bit closer.
sound that I really
Yeah,
like.
there we go.
So thank you very much for making sure that I'm. Where are you at, Chandler? Why are you not in the stream?
Do I really need to be in the
At the
stream?
start, yes, I'm
Does
putting
this
you
guy
in. I'm putting you in. There you go. Why is your picture grainy?
because it's the focus. Wait, hey, it's gonna be great. It doesn't focus on me.
Okay, don't worry. As long as we can see you.
You want to see this?
All of that. Right.
What he needs is a chain with that open view, that open shirt. You know,
A gold chain.
If you buy it for me.
When's your birthday, Chandler?
We missed it already. It was in March.
Oh, I guess we'll have to wait till next March.
Have to go all the way around again. Can't believe it. All right, let's get the show started.
Let's do this, man.
Welcome to United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online at WSGW.com. Here is your host, Kareem Bowen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America. We are here today, and you can see these. If you're missing, there's two shows that happen here. There's the one that you hear on the radio, then there's the one that you see online. And I'll tell you, the one that you see online right now is a true spectacle. We got in the stream with my co-host. I know he's reporting somewhere around the world. Mark, wanted to give a shout out to everybody and let us know where you're from.
I'm in Longmont, Colorado, which is right outside of Boulder, in town for my son who's graduating, my youngest son graduating from the University of Colorado in Boulder. So hello, good evening, everybody.
Hey man, so he's coming in. You're coming in from Boulder. He's graduating from Boulder. What's his degree? Space. Where's he graduating?
Business.
Oh, taken after Dad. Well, Dad was actually
I was a chemical engineer.
Chemical guy. Yeah. And so he's coming in as a businessman. He's looking at what you were doing in your life. So Geraldine, she says there's a face behind the voice. That voice. There you go. I think they're talking about you, Chandler Tyson.
It would help if I had my microphone turned on. Me?
Yeah. Why don't you give a shout out, Chandler?
Hi, how's everybody doing tonight? How are you guys doing?
I'm good, man. Today has been. I was glad it was. This morning I was talking and someone was saying, like, what's so big about someone that didn't live in Michigan was asking me, what's so bad about Michigan? You know, people are talking about, oh, today, this and this. And it was a day like this. And they were like, it's not sun. It's a horrible day. I'm like, this is every day. This is how we are from October to the middle of May. No sun. And then all of a sudden the sun peeked its head out of the clouds and I could hear the angels. And my mood changed immediately. Mark, does this lack of, well, I guess you're picking up sun from the East Coast, West Coast. Are you slated to be in Thailand anytime soon, Mark?
Not Thailand, although I really do love Thailand. I've been there many times, but I'm going to stay in the 50 states probably for now.
Okay, Mark, we should do a segment on here. Follow Mark's travels, and we'll talk about. We'll just do a live on location.
Where's Waldo? Where's Waldo?
Yeah, but does this weather? Does the sun in Michigan? Does it bother you? Just about Chandler?
What sun? Is there sun in Michigan?
The lack of sun.
But it peaked in the clouds. It was kind of scary, honestly. I was a little nervous when it first came through, but a little. That's the beautiful thing about this state is once the sun peeks through. and like the water warms up a little bit. You go to the beach and it's like, you can pretend it's almost tropical, you know?
Yeah.
And then you go inland and it's like, oh, you can pretend when it's really dry, it's a desert.
Wait a minute. You said that the sun peeked through the clouds and you got scared.
What is that thing? There was
oh, okay.
Mark, there was a big skylight today. I was really nervous.
I've decided I just need to leave Michigan after New Year's and come back after Easter. That's what
I mean, even Easter this year was an ice box.
Yeah.
So it was no fun. But today we're going to talk about a little bit about what everybody's talking about. You turn on the radio, the news outlets, CNN, CNBC, Fox News. Everybody's talking about what is going to happen with the judge's opinion that has been is coming down from the Supreme Court, where I think we've had 5 of the 9 sign on to this particular opinion about Roe v. Wade, Roe versus Wade. So we're going to talk about that just a little bit in a second, but there's a number of other things. We always start off with talking about what's hot off the press. And my guy, Mark, I think I should make you in charge of this part of it because your information is much more juicy than I even ever come up with. You go almost all the way to the tabloids, and I love that about you, Mark.
I'm really into pop culture. I enjoy pop culture more than all the hard news because the hard news is so depressing anymore.
So he likes things that pop. So he likes a pop of color. He likes pop culture. He likes pop art. So we know that. But Mark, as you were saying, why don't you give us a report on what Root is reporting?
The Root, yeah. Basically, RJ is claiming that his and Kim Kardashian's sex tape was actually a collaboration with Kris Kardashian or Kris Jenner at the time, I guess, that they kind of worked on it together. I haven't read the full details, but the headline was certainly grabbing. So,
okay, so when he says RJ, he's talking about Ray J, and we're talking to an audience that's probably like, "Who is RJ? Who is Ray J?" He has a famous sister who sang the national anthem, Randy. So everybody knows who his sister is.
He tried to be famous as an artist, but he wasn't. So
I mean, he's got 3 hit wonders. I mean, he's a 3 hit wonder. He probably has 2 or 3 songs. Probably 2 or 3 on the R&B circuit. So I don't think any of them were iconic songs, but songs that you could get your little, bop your head to and enjoy the music. But like you said, I guess the real story is that after, man, this has been 10, 15 years?
Yeah, at least probably.
Yeah. So he is now saying that the thing that brought the Kardashian sisters to celebrity status, which we all knew anyways, the sex tape with him and Kim was a partnership, a collaborative partnership with her mom, Kris Jenner. What does this say about parental morals?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get me going on the Kardashians. I can't. There's a lot of things like, well, why does anyone actually care about the Kardashians? Why are they worth so much money? What actual talent do they have? Those are all questions I've yet to get an answer to.
Mark, you haven't gone online and you haven't scrolled across a sex tape. That'll tell you all of the talents that they have.
Well, anybody can make a sex tape. I mean, come on. So,
no, but it's interesting. And so I like you said, Mark, I believe that 100% wholeheartedly.
I do too. I mean, you kind of hit the world right before they were launching that silly show on E. Kind of it blew up the show. It brought people to the show. And it's just, I've always felt that mom was willing to sell her soul for money and popularity, basically. That's my personal opinion. So
I'll be very honest with you. I didn't know who Kris Jenner was, other than she had a husband. Well, now she's a has-been husband. Bruce Jenner, the Olympic athlete. So I had no idea who she was, and the only reason I knew who he was is because he was on the Wheaties box when we were younger.
You didn't watch the '76 Olympics? He broke the world record in the decathlon.
Yeah, I was partly halfway swimming through birth canals at that time, Mark. No. I was looking at that and I was like, who are these Kardashian women? I didn't even know who they were. And now, I mean, she's got $1 billion baby with that youngest daughter who's like just doing, what's her, Kendall? Is her name Kendall?
Is it Kylie or Kendall? I don't know.
Kylie, they're. I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna say they're all one and the same. But Kylie, I just know Chloe's a little different because Chloe came out more like the average woman in America before all of the Silicon Valley alterations, I'll say. But
I mean, it's frankly, it's a little sad because you look at all their lives, and I don't know how many husbands. Kim's gone through. Chloe is, Tristan Thompson, Lamar Odom. I mean, the list just goes on and on.
you went to the whole NBA. We see what she likes, right?
They've got their own all-star team of ex-husbands.
We're gonna get put off the team. We're gonna get put off the air. This is gonna be the week, Mark. Now, there's a lot of other stuff that I have said, but the comments that I just made today, that may be the thing, the final straw that breaks the camel's back. But she likes chocolate, ice cream. So, anyways, we're moving right along. You okay with that, Chandler?
I'm good. You got to put a camera on me. I gotta.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about Cinco de Mayo, and Chandler, you're going to come in because I know that you're going to be working with Larry Rodarte. Did I get the R roll right?
Oh yeah.
And it's happening this weekend. Actually, today is the 4th of May. Tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo. And on the Saturday, though, when all the festivities are going to be taking place, the parade and all of the after events and the vendors, and everybody's going to gain about 10-15 pounds, and
it's gonna be nuts. And like I gotta bring my sister's coming over because it's also her birthday, so I gotta bring extra money so that I can feed her, and she loves Mexican food, and it's gonna be a whole thing. But yeah, we're kicking things off. I believe as far as things are planned right now, I will be joining Larry Rodarte. I can't roll my R's, but we'll be doing Mejente on Air live at about 8:30 a.m. It's going to be a little bit
8:30 a.m.
We have to, are you up that early, Chandler?
I can do it sometimes. I'll just need a long nap in the later part of the day. But we're going to start at 8:30. We're going to record Mejente on Air for the following Sunday, and please come down, say hi if you see us recording. And Larry may or may not interview a few people who show up. I might have to convince him to talk to a few people. I might have to bring him some coffee.
I don't think you're gonna have to convince Larry very much. He works really well with people, so I think that'll be great.
He loves it.
But all of the festivities are going down this Saturday. Should be a great time.
The parade starts at 10:30. We'll also be if you can't make it down to the parade, check us out here on WSGW on the Facebook page, on the YouTube. We'll be streaming the parade, so you can check out all the floats.
So the after events. So the after events are taking place where?
At Jolt Credit Union Event Park, I believe it is called.
I did not even know we had a new name. It was still Huntington Park the last I saw, and now it's Jolt Park. I guess they came out with that big donation. They're opening up that new branch on State Street with all of that new build out and renovation. Should be exciting. So come on out. It should be so much fun. I usually get through there every single year and see friends and people. Y'all don't know that I'm half Mexican, right? I'm just joking, y'all. I'm one. Not at all. But I had 4 years of Spanish in high school. Then I did 4 years as a minor at Michigan State. It was actually called a cognate, and some overseas studying abroad and stuff like that. So I love the culture. I love the food. It is a great opportunity. I think that we're gonna have some fun. So you guys come on out and celebrate. I'm gonna be out with. Hopefully, I'll stop by. I don't know if I'll be there 8:30 with you and Larry, but hopefully I'll get over there and be able to get to your table before it is too late. Kim says, yes, you are. Kim knows I will kill those tacos. Jeffrey Bull is on here, and his wife makes tacos, and she may be. I'm buying them by the pan. So yeah, I enjoy it. All right, so hey, what is coming up on this Sunday? It is Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
If
Happy
you
Mother's
are
Day early to all the mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers that are out there. My mom is actually in the stream. Hey, Mom, happy Mother's Day. But I'll tell you this. This is I love it when you say Mother Walker. I'll tell you what's interesting. If I would really tell him, hey, cue up Mama by Boys to Men, if the audience would really understand what it was talking about. But I think they may not be able to get that one. But happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers who are continually making great things happen. You have prepared homes, you have prepared lunches, And you have been the center of our lives and our happiness, sacrificing for yourselves, sacrificing for us, and you always overlook yourselves. We want to say thank you for your commitment to our excellence, to our existence, for feeding us and clothing us and changing our diapers. And then as we get older and we think that we really know what's happening in life, giving us the opportunity to spread our wings and fly. All right, Chandler, I want you to give a shout out. Is your mom alive, Chandler?
Yes.
All right. Why don't you say something nice about your mother so she can tune in and listen to it on the radio?
Hi, Ma. I love you. I hope I'm making you proud.
And I hope you're having a good Mother's Day. We'll have to. I'll have to see if
She
I can buy
probably
you,
was proud until you made that weird voice.
Until that happened, we'll have to see if I can buy you dinner later tonight or later Mother's Day.
All right. Now, Mark,
what are you getting for Mother's Day? Are you getting it, or do you not want to say since Mother Walker's on the?
She's in the stream, Mark.
Yeah, it's good. The fans want to know, though. Your big fans want to know.
Hey, I have. So I've planned in advance. Really, I did, and I have, how should I say, a special event that we will be a part of. And her Mother's Day, and if she's on it, she'll let you know that her Mother's Days are always well celebrated, filled with beautiful flowers. She's a flower and a card lady.
Ah, what kind of flowers does she like?
Well, wow, he's really pushing the thing. She loves really exotic roses. So if you can get a unique rose, she loves a unique rose. And she's sitting here like I'm all ears. But she also enjoys Birds of Paradise. That's one of her favorites, if I'm correct.
Those are beautiful. Yep.
Yeah. And so this is the season. You can actually grab those right now because I think they're actually in florist stores, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm sure it'll be some exotic flower, Birds of Paradise. She loves the irises and those types of things. So she'll be well taken care of as it relates to that. She'll eat maybe, we'll throw a couple biscuits at her. But
do you do anything special for Mother's Day at your church?
Well, we do for all of the women. Every single year, I make sure that every mother that comes in receives flowers. So every single mother that comes in.
That's very nice.
Yeah. So she's calla lilies. We see calla lilies. Calla lilies, though, I thought those were more Annie Lane's favorite, but you guys can share them. But no, so so we'll spend some time together. But her big thing, honestly, Mark, it's funny. She probably can go back a couple decades with the Christmas, Mother Day, birthday cards that she gets. So she is really big on the cards.
Yep.
If you can put it in writing or find a card that says it, you had an amazing day. And anything above that is like just icing on the cake. So happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. We love you. We love you. We love you. All right. I don't know if we should go here. Mark, you brought this up. We're going to talk about it a little bit. What's going on with this Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing? I try to tune in every now and then because this has been comic relief.
Again, it's kind of sad. I mean, obviously, two people that people looked up to. Johnny Depp has made a fortune, and it sounds like he's spent his fortune and then some. He's been bankrupt. And in a certain sense,
is Johnny really bankrupt, or is he bankrupt for this court case?
I think he was. Again, who knows? I read an article about a year ago that basically said he was bankrupt. He just had crazy spending habits. He had a serious drug issue. But anyway, it's in a lot of ways. I know we like to kind of poke fun at these things, but the reality is it's really pretty sad to see, what many people would consider two successful people clearly have lots of personal issues. That's where, I think a lot of times people look at people like that and in a certain sense you probably didn't expect me to get kind of serious.
I like, oh my goodness, let me change the tenor of my conversation.
Envious of these people with all this wealth and popularity, but inside, they're very troubled people with kind of, frankly, not very happy lives. And because when you read the details of everything that's gone on and all the testimony, it's really sad, frankly. So,
You know, his career, and they were talking about his career is basically destroyed, which is crazy because he had the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
He did, and now apparently he says even if they offered him $300 million, he says he would not go through with it, just based on the way he's been treated by all of these different companies.
I think he says that now, but I think after this is over, he may put it, especially if he's bankrupt.
Especially
But
if he really is bankrupt. So yeah.
you know, I think, but this is the thing. I think that, you know, Mark, you said we look up. I've never looked up to Johnny Depp. I always honestly thought he was a little bit on the fringes. And then there was Edward Scissorhands. And that kind of, to me, was kind of like, this is kind of who this guy is. This kind of unique, introverted.
He's friends with Tim Burton. And Burton, like, yeah, it's like, we're gonna make you work, and you're gonna be the weird guy for me.
Well, I think it worked, but looking at this court case, you know, what is sad? I'll tell you what's funny, and I've said this. This is what the comic relief portion of this is. Just the looks. If you looked at the emojis that are coming out of this and the responses that he's giving, looking over the glasses, and then like, I was talking. Is that all right? Just those conversations. He is classic, and some of this I know he's probably just kind of playing into his strong suit as an actor.
Yep.
But it's crazy. I mean, this is the Willy Wonka of court cases.
Yeah.
All puns intended. But I loved him in Willy Wonka. That was one of my favorite movies that he did. But when I look at this case, what is sad now, Mark, and we talk about this, and you know, domestic abuse and assault is a very real thing, and we've talked about it on here and other places. I think that is really sad. Both of them are saying that they are abused, but when you hear these stories, they clearly are sitting here abusing one. I don't see what would make a person be so miserable and stay in that type of misery.
You need a psychologist for that. I mean, they have the reasons, you know. Now, usually, you know, like when it's a woman, she's trapped financially, and she's got kids, and maybe she's not working and kind of trapped financially. That's clearly not the case here. Now, as I saw the other day, this court case has been going on longer than they were married. I mean, the reality is they were only married 15 months or something like that. So
it's codependency.
Yes.
And we know that that's the real thing, but it's so sad to see this play out in everyday life. But this is the life. We're getting a look into the types of relationship that we consider highly toxic that people are actually dealing with, and that's the sad piece. And I'm glad there aren't a ton of children that are involved in this, because that would only just make it that much worse. But to see two people who are so big on the big screen, who are bigger than life, and you get into the frailties of their lives, and you see those pieces that aren't seen, and you say, hey, these guys are just like we are. And so my heart's in prayer.
All the money in the world can buy you happiness when it's all said and done. So.
Mark, working in spaces that I've been, man, and you see these people that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and there's just no peace. There is no peace there. And someone said this to me once before: you really don't understand how much you value peace until you don't have it. And the next time that you get it, there's nothing you won't do to keep it. And I think that's a very real statement. I want to talk real quick before we get out of here. I don't know what is the Met Gala. I never knew what that is.
Fashion, high fashion.
I don't know, to be honest. It's in New York, and all the movie stars and famous people get to wear outlandish, high fashion, as Chandler said, clothes. There must be, I don't know if it's a dinner. I've never actually dug into like what they do there. Is there a performance? Is it just a dinner? I don't know. All the pictures
I've never dug into what they do there.
Yeah.
It just seems to be walking around wearing the fancy clothes. And apparently it was a return to the Gilded Age or something this year. And then a bunch of people actually came out and said, it's like, well, the Gilded Age wasn't a good time for the United States. And I think it's pretty representative of the times we're in again.
Like, well, I mean, it was a time of great wealth growth. What was the I mean, there were, like at any time there's issues. Out of curiosity, what were What were they referencing, Chandler?
Specifically the time from like 1890 to 1900. Deep bad Jim Crow laws and big disparity.
What do you mean? We're going to make America great again? That's when we were great. What are you talking about?
Again. We're going to make it again.
We're going to make it again.
Yeah, it's MAGA this time.
All right, so is this guy coming through? We saw that he backed this new guy from Kentucky for the Senate race. Ohio, that's what it was.
JD Vance or whatever, JD Vance or whoever.
Yeah, and I guess he won. So I guess they're trying to determine, is this a litmus test on is he yet in power? I think just because of the talking points and so many people's unwillingness to be honest and tell the truth, we kind of know that we're where we are. So Mark, you tell me, we got 43 seconds left. Is this dude running again? Is number 45 going to be number 47?
I have no idea. I hope not, but I have no idea. Again, I think it's so far away, Kareem. He's never going to run if he's not highly probable to win.
Right.
And so much can happen between now and then. I mean, so much can happen in 4 months. I don't. But if I was forced to bet, I'd say no, because I do think he's slipping away. That his kind of control of the Republican Party is slowly slipping away.
Well, wasn't that the whole idea of us? After we get our years in office, we disappear and fall off into the sunset.
Not when you're a narcissist. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more United Shades of Gray. Oh, hey, how you guys doing out there? We're getting ready to get to our conversation. When we come back from this quick break, we're going to talk about what might the fallout be of this Roe versus Wade unraveling, undoing this particular situation before the Supreme Court. There has been a mock-up of a decision or a perspective from one of the justices, and I believe we now have 5 of the justices who have agreed and signed on to this current perspective. So we'll see what happens with this. It's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how this plays out with voters and women and everything that's taking place across the country, with this being a midterm election year and just 2 years away from another big election. All right, stay tuned. We're getting ready to get back in this more conversation.
You're listening to United Shades of Gray on WSGW.
Hey, we're back with United Shades of Gray, conversations of race in America. We are all in the house on today. Myself, Mark Bassett, who is somewhere traveling in the mountain region of the country. I think he's in Denver, just outside of Denver.
Just outside of Denver.
And we have Chandler Tyson. I want to keep it all together. Chandler Tyson is his new name, with us in the studio. Jenny DeMoore.
What was that model's name? Tyson? I forgot.
Tyson Beckford.
Yeah.
But he's Chandler. You're on screen. Look into the camera, Chandler.
Is this what you wanted?
I was thinking
what you wanted.
Mark, have you ever seen Zoolander?
I have.
Okay, I was thinking we're gonna get the Zoolander
Magnum or Blue Steel or whatever.
The Blue Steel.
I gotta turn.
And he gives us the deer in headlights. But we're back, and we're gonna get into our conversation for today. Jenny DeMoore, good evening to you as well. Thank you for tuning in. Let's like, tag, and share. And I see that you guys have been doing that, going back and looking at things over the course of the weeks. All right, so what's happening is, and I cannot, Chandler, the name of the justice that wrote this new opinion. Do you happen to know who it is, or could you find that out for us? Really quick?
I can find that out for you really quick.
I know what it sounds like, but I can't remember which one it was. But anyways, man, it's been decades since we have seen anything like this, moving towards a real dismembering of the Roe versus Wade decision. Jenny DeMoore, she's chiming in before I even get it out of my mouth. It's none of their business. A woman should be able to do what she wants with her body. They should be concerned with.
It's a very emotional issue, Kareem. This is
Amen.
Very emotional issue.
Very emotional, very controversial. And it's going to be interesting.
That would be Justice Alito.
There you go, Justice Alito.
There
So
will
he
be a lot of people on this call tonight that don't think 3 men should be talking about this or have.
But I think, hey, I mean, you might be right. But we're going to talk about it anyways. That never stopped me from talking about stuff I shouldn't talk about. But I think what I think is interesting is perspectives, and I'm not going to talk about it whether or not those particular thoughts, what should happen, because I think that we will leave that for women. So Jenny DeMoore, we appreciate you sharing your opinion and your thoughts, and anyone else that would like to share those, we would certainly love for you to share any statement contact. We'll put it on the screen. We'll talk about it a little bit. And if you have any questions, feel free to throw them out there as well. This is a great time to do that. So anyways, Justice, name again? Alito. Justice Alito, conservative-leaning judge. He has put out this opinion basically stating, and I'm going to give you guys a paraphrase on this, that because of the fact that the issue of abortion is not it's not a personal right because it is not something that is covered in the Constitution. Therefore, it doesn't adequately. What does that look for there, Chandler?
No, just keep describing.
He's giving his personal opinion visually
without saying anything.
Yeah.
So, because it is not a right that is addressed by the Constitution, this cannot be considered one of those rights that is outside of the government's interference or blah 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 blah. Essence, and I think that you get the essence. So what that means is, and Mark, you asked the question, what does that mean? Are they going to just throw it back to the states to deal with it? Because we've seen that happen. We've seen that happen with voting rights. There was this whole push to have, federalized. Well, we got all of these voting rights bill that are on the table, the John Lewis bill being one. And so the way that they deal with it is they say, hey, why don't we let the states decide on what to do with it? And so in this particular situation, this now conservative-leaning Supreme Court, which has been in the making for some time, Donald Trump, I'm going to tell you, for conservatives who don't like Donald Trump, there are some things that he did to really set up a situation that other presidents were not able or not afforded the opportunity to do. I'll say that for sure. And one of those things is getting those judges, not only the Supreme Court justices, but the judges all the way down the line. He and Mitch, the glitch O'Connell, they did a great job of getting conservative. I can't be mad at them because other people had the opportunity and they didn't seize those opportunities. But anyways, so what we find is that this now, if this happens, this in essence unravels or undoes the constitutional footing that says that women have this right. So it takes away this and it throws it back, says, hey, we don't think that this is something that's ironclad. It throws it back to the states. And as you were noting earlier, Chandler, states now, most of them are saying, hey, we don't necessarily want this, even though I guess popular opinion, if you look at, this is kind of like the Electoral College, says, hey, we want it. When we look at the legislatures, we see something different. So
legislatures are elected. I mean, the state legislatures there's no electoral college for that.
No, I was joking. I said that's what I was saying when I said that.
Though is like you can say the popular opinion, but the popular opinion elects the representatives of that state.
And Mark, that's true. However, it would be like let's look at where we're going now. So right now, until this issue came up, one of the big issues would have been what? Inflation. And so people vote based upon things that are important to them in the moment. And so other things that may be important to them, but they may not be their top issue. People get in and they're able, just because I voted for this person, Joe Biden. I didn't vote. You voted for Joe Biden. Perfect example of what I'm talking about. Oh, I'm sorry. You said that, right? You said it on the airport.
Yeah,
okay.
Not because I liked Joe Biden or thought he'd be a great president. I actually thought he'd be a bad president.
Exactly.
I thought the alternative was worse.
And so we vote for these people and we put people in office that we may not necessarily agree with them on everything that they stand for. And for some people, social issues are not the most important thing. What we would consider social or moral issues are not the thing that really drive us to really go into the ballot box and make our decision. But it's those coffee table, those kitchen table issues, those pocketbook issues that really determine how we live our life. Now, if all of my bills are paid and my financial situations are good and I can live, then, then I'll move down the list to moral things. I got to survive first, right? And then I'll deal with my moral issues after my survival issues.
That's you. I know quite a few people, though, that, abortion and pro-life, that they vote based solely on that issue. I know quite a few people that will vote straight on, especially pro-life people, they'll vote straight down that issue.
But now, what if that's a null issue? What are they focused on now?
Well, I don't know. That'll be for them to figure that out.
But, and this is something
I think the really interesting thing to me, which is, I guess this is the first time that, again, it's nothing as definitive. This is being discussed, that it's been leaked. And to me, the really interesting thing is who leaked it.
Yeah.
And it's probably for very political reasons. And is it to distract the population from something else? So,
there's something else. You understand that. So there's something else that is going on. And honestly, when I look at this, man, I'm going to tell you.
I really think the conservative justices would leak this personally, because there's no advantage to doing that for them. So
the advantage would be to create a groundswell of folks who would then show up for these elections this coming year, man. And so it's like, we got to motivate our base to do something. We got to get them to not vote for these Republicans, and so that it's not a red wall or a red wave or whatever it's called. And so I definitely see that. I'm with you 1000%. Smoke and mirrors. I think that there's a lot that happens. And so you've got to look at what's not being talked about, because oftentimes that's where the real story is. But Mark, when you were saying something, when you were talking about that, I have this real big issue with my conservative brothers and sisters. And that issue is this. Like, you were talking about how they're so passionate about, abortion. And I've seen and had those conversations. Hey, the only thing that matters is abortion. Why are people so gung-ho about that particular issue? I need to ask.
To me, it's very simple. They view life begins at conception, and that you're murdering a person. And that's how they view it. And so we have legalized, in their view, that we are legalizing the murdering of unborn people. And that's, if you put it that way, it's something you can get pretty riled up about pretty quickly.
Well, I'm going somewhere with that. That was my initial question, because my second question would be, if we have those types of feelings about abortion, and I'll say this about abortion, being a black man, understanding what the statistics are being reported, how many black babies are being aborted. And a lot of that is, hey, we can't afford to have another mouth around here to feed. You better go get rid of it. It's not, we can't go. I remember growing up, and a lot of the young women that were in school with me, white girls, they were having IUDs and all these sophisticated forms of birth control that, weren't covered on certain programs. And so these sisters weren't getting those things. And so
it's pretty cheap, though, Kareem.
Well, in terms of what it means, not what a condom is, but that means also education. And so it's a systemic issue. I know another word that we love here. It's an issue that is consistent, that continues to go. And you're right. So education, and what they were saying is that the more educated groups are, the less likely you have lower levels of abortion. So there's a whole educational component here. There is an social economic component here, because all of those things were very big factors in terms of how those numbers increased, right? But what I don't understand is there is such a concern with these lives and keeping lives only through conception and through birth, but then that same passion for caring for those lives seems to wane off after they've been created.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I mean, the one I always find interesting is they're pro-life, but they want to support capital punishment, which I
Where
always
does that come from?
like. Well, wait a minute, help me understand the logic of that one. But yeah, I mean, it's a fair challenge, frankly, Kareem. Now, some of them, again, there's a lot of people out there that this is their primary issue, and that's why it's a primary issue. But they also are passionate people that care and donate money and help others. But I've seen lots that, I don't consider, the most caring, giving, empathetic people in the world. So.
And Jeff, don't think that I'm not seeing. Jeff put something in the comments
That's
stream.
not laundering. I mean, that's not. Laundering means it's subterfuge. There's no laundering going on, man.
Hey, this is what they're doing. Now you see it. Now you don't. It is the biggest magic trick, and this happens. And I agree with you, Jeff. I think that we don't have money until we have money, and then we pull money out of thin air and we put it in places. And Ukraine's still waiting for those helicopters and things, and we've sent nearly $4 billion. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? There's a problem here. This has to be the lowest supply chain ever on the planet, or what's going on with all of the support that we're giving you. So I get your smoke and mirrors statement, Jeff. I think it's really good. The other thing, going back to this Roe v. Wade thing, and I'm going to tell you, there's something scary about this, because this is my thing. And before I get to what's scary, this is my thing. I think, and I am a pro-life person. I believe, hey, I think that thou should not kill. I think that read to every sense of the word, as if it's a baby, whatever it is. If it is alive, then it is life, right? That's my personal opinion. But I also believe people are going to do what they want to do. And for the biggest Bible thumper that's out there, one thing that I never saw Jesus running around doing is trying to force people not to sin. If you think about what I'm saying, he said, hey, this is the way. This is the way that it should be. This is what pleases me. This is where my heart is. Follow me. Don't do this. But he's not running around like, hey, get out the bed. Hey, stop sinning. Hey, get out of adultery. That's not what he did. He spoke to those who came to him, who had an ear to hear what it was that he was saying. So my thing about this whole thing, if we're saying that this is a religious thing, shouldn't our perspective on this kind of mirror the person that we're saying is the reason we're standing up and believing and are so affirmative in our belief for it? I just think that that's really something interesting to me. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know.
Well, I also think like we're taking a lot of like the overtly Christian opinions into it. Over the last few days, I've actually seen a lot of opinions from Jewish groups and Muslim groups who go, well, if they do this, it is going against their religious freedoms, because in specifically the Jewish faith, they have it apparently specifically written that I'm only learning this now, and I kind of looked into it a little bit, that if a woman is if her life is threatened by the birth, or if the baby, like if something is wrong with the child in a way where it's not going to survive 2 minutes out of the womb, then an abortion should happen.
But I think
that's a specific late term abortion situation too.
But I think that those are things that most people would agree with here.
Yeah.
If so I think that the abortion groups, I think that they kind of, I don't care, you're gonna die if you've got to bring this baby. I don't think that I've heard that perspective. But it brings to me, and once again, there's always a method to my madness on this. They are so gung-ho about this, but my thing is, does the government have the right to tell you what to do with your body? And when I look at what happened with COVID,
what I would say,
people are fighting. What'd you say?
What I would say, sorry to interrupt, is
go ahead.
You're doing something to somebody else's body, is what they would argue. That you, however it happened, you got pregnant, and so yes, that's just biology. This other person is in your body. And you don't have the right to kill some other person, is what they would argue.
and I think that the same thing goes with this whole argument of like the government should not control what you do with your kids. I mean, other than kill them.
Well,
but I think
that's what they would argue is happening here. I mean, in their mind, that's a person, and you're killing.
But it goes back to that fundamental belief, Mark. We argue about things until it doesn't fit our narrative. So we're arguing the government shouldn't tell us what to do. I should be able to determine for me and my kids. Now, I've heard this argument. I should be able to determine for me and my kids what's safe and what's going to be right. I don't want my kid wearing a mask. Now, they're telling you that kids can die from COVID as well. So you've made the decision to put your child out there. And if they get sick and die, I'm the parent and the government should never tell me what to do. Why can't we have some consistency with our coffee? Yes.
I would also kind of not meaning to intentionally switch tracks here, but one of the discussions
on the other side of this, playing devil's advocate. Go ahead.
Well, not devil's advocate to the current discussion, but like this changing of the law or reinterpretation of the law really puts into a perspective of, well, what's next on the chopping block?
That's the concern.
Because Roe versus Wade is based on privacy laws.
Yep.
And those privacy laws come into play for things like gay marriage and laws for contraception, like for the use of contraceptives.
Yeah, certain types of contraceptive. You're absolutely right.
And then
voting rights
and interracial marriage, which if we're suddenly going to get all like it's not written in the Constitution, that's interracial marriage was never written in the Constitution, and I don't know how the founding fathers would feel about it.
Well, I mean, I know how the founding fathers felt about me as a black man in 1776. I didn't exist, and so what does that do to and that becomes my major concern. Like, we start making and toying with these things to push our agenda, but are we clearly looking at how these things have this avalanche and how other things are in the way? That's one of the reasons why you couldn't get the Democrats, some of those conservatives or moderates, to say, hey, let's remove the filibuster. Let's just go ahead and remove the filibuster, do what we want to, because they recognize that at some point this is going to turn around and you're going to have a Republican situation where they're in control and they're going to do things that you don't. So we need to begin to think about this. And those are the things, Chandler, that you highlighted that really caused me serious pause. What does this mean for other things that are also not necessarily covered in the Constitution? How are those things going to impact us as we begin to move forward? And Mark, do you have any thought about those things? I mean, because this really affirmative action, what's that?
Yeah, well, again, I don't. I mean, again, this is a new issue. I've been traveling. I haven't thought about secondary things. I mean, to me, those issues are different. I won't say much different. They're different in that, this is in essence, many people would consider it murder versus, other things. So I don't have, who knows where this is going and what this means. I think the biggest thing for me that continues to be frustrating is the continued kind of polarization and politicizing of every issue and the unwillingness to try to seek a common ground or to seek compromise in between the two positions to kind of.
But that's a difficult thing, specifically as far as abortion goes, because
that one is a very tough one. Other ones I think you can.
Because the line is there's people who believe that from the point of, I guess, conception, that this thing is alive and it is becoming a child, and then there are the people who believe, well, it's not
alive
really,
until it's alive.
It's
right.
not. Well, I believe most people who are pro-abortion would believe like up until a few months before you're actually prepared to give birth is like the point where that's where they consider.
The interesting thing is that
it's ready to go
because
but a few weeks
technology allows people preborn, premature, younger to survive. I mean, and when you start looking at ultrasounds and everything, it's pretty amazing how developed.
I mean, when you look at, coming from the medical background, when you look at what happens immediately after contraceptive, contraception.
Inception.
I'm sorry, inception. We're gonna no, it's inception. Yeah, conception.
Conception.
There we go.
Not
What happens
conception.
immediately after conception? There is a whole DNA, organic carbon, vitriol things that are happening automatically. So life is beginning the moment that conception happens, and so I believe life begins at conception. I think the fullness of life begins at birth, but we've seen, babies that were brought into the world 2, 3, 4 weeks before their full term, and they live and they're happy and they're healthy. Yeah. So when we look at that, when does life begin? And so I believe that life begins at conception.
But how do you then go on convincing the people who believe that conception is just a clump of cells with no sentience, and then they believe like at about 8 months I will give that person that is
it's just a slippery slope. How is it
how do you convince that
next day they are
person?
Well, I think that's the whole thing. So that's one of the reasons why, although I am pro-life, people are going to do what they want to do. And I think it was Jenny DeMore who said it's going to happen, whatever they decide to do. What's going to happen is, people are going to find a way to do. It actually makes it more of a thing when people are.
Again, at this point, it's going to be up to, I'm guessing if this goes through, it'll be up for states to decide how to handle it. So.
Absolutely. So Elaine Cook says, I'm not for abortion, but when it's incest or rape, that's a whole different ballgame. And I think
most people would agree with Elaine on that.
Now, there's some of those people out there who's like, well, you should just have it and give it away. I mean, it's crazy. But I think that I agree with you on that, Elaine Cook and Jenny DeMore. Those are very clear issues that are important. We don't see those issues showing up in some of the legislation that's happening in Texas. I wish that an hour show did not go so fast. Sometimes we come here like, oh my gosh, are we going to be able to do this? And before you know it, an hour has passed. I certainly want to thank you, Mark, taking out time. You've been traveling all day out there to Denver. Congratulations to your son. And tell Mary, happy Mother's Day as well. Okay. Chandler, you do the same as well, my man. Tell your mom and the family have said happy Mother's Day. For those of you out there, happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers. We thank you for tuning in today. Come and be with us on next week as we talk more conversations of race in America at United Shades of Gray. Thank you.